Hi, everybody. How are you? And welcome back to our streamed live event. Today, Marc will be angry at mediums who give generic messages instead of evidential
I'm really
messages.
going to be angry.
He's very angry.
But
I don't get
everybody,
angry. However, I do get disappointed if given a reading like that. So I quite understand him being angry.
wait till I wind her up. She'll be angry in the next half hour, I promise. Anyway, since let's start with working on Devi. I've got a serious complaint. She went away for an extended weekend and she didn't invite any of us along. All we got were the holiday snaps. So yes, I'm afraid I'm going to inflict them on all of you.
Spent in the woods with no internet. It was great. These are some pics of the highlights of Cauldron Fest 2025, the realm of the Fae.
They can have your phone.
No, I do not.
They can have your phone.
No, I do not.
So, Devi.
Well, what you didn't hear at the beginning of that was that I was actually in a cabin in the woods without internet for 4 days. It was great.
4 days without internet.
You couldn't handle it. I loved it. I didn't know I wasn't going to have internet. Okay. I thought I would, but I didn't. And it was actually quite nice. I didn't see any news. I didn't, get distracted or start scrolling on Facebook when I could be enjoying the creeks and the rivers and the mountains and the trees and things like that.
Okay, so having inflicted Devi's torture on us, you may have noticed there that we did a wee bit of editing. It wasn't just straightforward flat photos, which does actually lead into something that we want to update you about. Now, Walks on Sunday with Marc and Ying, that's one of the streamed events that we've been trying to do. Now, the original idea was that Ying and I would walk around nice historic places in Scotland, like castles, Devi, castles, and we would do it live. We'd be carrying the camera, and you could see us talking, and that just didn't work because we were too unpredictable in terms of time. And come on, would you really want to sit through an hour of the jiggling camera up and down?
No.
So we then went to editing. Now, I enjoy editing videos, so I was producing some fairly high quality videos. Then the streaming software that we use is called StreamYard. And in order for it to stream a recorded video, you had to bring it down to 10 frames a second. Now, for any of you that don't know what that means, is that's really, really low quality video. So all the ones that we've streamed so far, when you actually watch them, it's literally, you can see the dots. It's like watching a TV picture in the 1970s. So what we're going to do, and then of course it was compounded by the fact that these are actually quite interesting, and these are sort of like kind of timeless because we really are going out of our way to go around nice places. So StreamYard now, of course, kill our live streamed videos after 30 days.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we are going to stream, but we're going to stream very, very short videos. So here's an example of one that will be coming in May.
Maybe.
Plant, a wild plant. But anyway, I'm sure you know.
山茶呀，
哦，
这是山茶呀。
So you know that
Oh,
Chamelia's the original tea from China.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Chameleon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds good.
Darling, no, we are not taking dishes of it home for tea.
Yes.
No.
So that's literally just, that was my wife and that was me talking from behind the camera. And we're walking around Royal Botanical Gardens with a guided tour. Now we've got about an hour and a half of video footage, which obviously we're going to severely edit down to a manageable video size. And you can see there the quality of the videos that we're using, because I've got some fairly expensive camera equipment as well that I love my toys. Devi's seen some of it now. So the short one will go up to announce we're doing one, and then we'll actually post the video across all the pages that we would post it in, share it where we would normally share it. So basically watch out for the announcement video. You can see that, you know, you can register with it. It will be short and comical like that, the one little scene. We'll just choose an appropriate scene from each video, and then we'll follow up probably within the same day of actually posting the proper videos. So that gets around the quality issues, and we're still streaming, sort of. Okay. Yeah. Nothing else to add news-wise. So let's get on with ranting and raving.
Let's rant. All right, Mark. So tell us the difference between an evidential message and a generic message to start.
Okay. The obvious one is I'm giving you a statement that I don't need any evidence of. So, okay, let me give you a real example. Long time ago, Ying and I had just got married. That was Ying and I. That was my beautiful wife, Ying, there. Believe it or not, she's actually approaching 50. And you wouldn't believe that from that quality video, would you?
She looks very young, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we walk around and everybody thinks I'm the father. That aside. So the two of us had got married. We were on our honeymoon. We went to New York State. I've told this story multiple times, but cut a long story short, we're in the church is called the Manhattan Spiritualist Church, and the medium comes up. Very short messages. She goes to somebody that she clearly knows, says, "I've got your father, and he loves you." She goes to somebody else, got your mother. Oh, and all her illnesses are all cured. She's happy. She loves you. So basically, it's just short, bland statements that may mean something. You know, like we all want to be told our mother loves us, but
most people's mothers do love them.
Yeah.
Not all, but most. Yeah.
Debbie, stop stealing my line when I'm working on stage. So this is illustrative of what I mean by evidential messages. When I go up on stage, usually platform as opposed to stage, I say to everybody in the church or everybody in the audience, if you've come to get a message from your mother or your father and to be told that they love you, you've come to see the wrong medium. That's not to say I won't give you a message of your mother or father, but the message that they're going to give you is going to be something going on in your life, some sort of situation or somebody around you that is evidential. So what do I mean by evidential? So, for example, it could be something like, there's a dog, you've got a dog. Now, okay, that most people don't have dogs, but do you have a dog, or is there a dog very close to you? Small, fluffy creature, maybe a poodle or something like that. Yes, okay. Have you taken, I'm being told that you've taken the dog to the vet, or you're just about to take the dog to the vet. Yes. Now, the message will not be about the dog going to the vet, but that's the way the trail, you know, it's like breadcrumbs that you've got to follow. Mm-hmm. Right. And you've had a romantic entanglement with the vet. And you didn't tell your husband. No, I wouldn't do that. Seriously, I'm doing that to be funny. I wouldn't get a message like that. Even if I had it, I might say, come and see me after. I might say to her, look, I've got a really personal message for you. I don't want your husband, you know, like her husband might be sitting beside her. I don't want to give the message I've got in public. Can you come by yourself, come and see me after the church? Now, Debbie, you actually saw me do that, didn't you? This was a real message.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, this was a real message. It was a woman that had had a problem with a man. The man was threatening her, harassing her. She'd moved out, and she was getting a message. I was getting a message from, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember who was giving her the message, but I was being told that she had to relocate. I think it was Florida she was to go to. Now, it turned out that I didn't say anything in public because I didn't know who in the church knew about this man, this situation. It turned out they all knew. It was a really close-knit church, so they were all being supportive. But anyway, that aside, she came and saw me afterwards, and I said, "Are you thinking about escaping or relocating down to somewhere like Florida?" "Yeah, oh my God, yes, my brother's in Florida, and I have actually been talking about going there." "Right, well, the message from your loved one is you have to do it." Now, that's a very evidential message. Now, okay, I'm saying everybody in the church knew about it, so you could argue, oh, well, somebody might have spoken to Marc. Well, no, not really, because Devi and I had never been to this church before.
No, we'd never been to that church before. Yeah, nobody could have said anything.
And even if somebody in the church had sent me an email to say, we've got, yeah, as they would, Marc, we've got
right. Guess what?
Here's all the information about it. Never met the woman before. She could be anybody. Well, 80% of the audience, the congregation, well, actually it was more than that, but a significant number were females. So, the chances of randomly choosing 1 out of 30 people, I don't think so. So that's what I mean by an evidential message. Devi, you got any bad experiences?
I'm trying to think of a good example. Oh yeah, I was giving a reading to a friend, and her mother came forward, who was also a friend of mine. So it was very hard for me to prove evidentially that it was her. And she said, "Go on and give me the message anyway." So I said, "She says there's a job for you at Google." And my friend just, "Oh my gosh, I just applied there yesterday." So yeah, she believed that I had her mom.
Yeah, because basically by giving an evidential message, you're repeating the evidence that you've given for the spirit. I mean, I get a lot of criticism when I'm working on platform because I do rapid fire messages. So, like, for example, go back to that church. Now, you can actually see a video of this. So if you go to my website, marcstuartmedium.com, sort of left-hand side, under the sort of home page button, there's a drop-down menu, and you'll find one of video examples of me working. And if you go to, there's a menu at the top, click church, and there's 2 videos of me working in churches. Choose the American one, because that's the one I'm talking about. So my messages tend to be very short. I'll give enough evidence for the person to be convinced I've got Uncle Johnny that they haven't seen for 20 years and he's been dead for 15 years, something like that. And my messages are highly evidential, like the example that I just gave. But the fact that you're giving an evidential message, that evidence again ties in and reinforces the fact that you've deliberately cut the message for the person short.
Yes, absolutely.
And what, by the time you've done 15 or 20 messages in a row, the people that are like, you always get skeptics in a church platform.
Oh, yeah.
Just the first time. And, if only 5 or 6 people get messages, well, I don't know, that could that
they could have known those people, or they could have arranged it beforehand, or yeah.
Whereas if they themselves get a message, and I make sure that everybody gets a message, then they can't leave the church saying that, or the stage saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Then of course you get the mediums that go in the opposite direction. Like there's one medium in Scotland who is really good at giving the evidence, but she gives so much evidence, and it's really good evidence. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing the evidence this medium gives, but it's like that, and it's like that. And you notice my
goodness, forever and ever and ever until you know everything about this person, and it's not necessary. Yeah.
And then she, whether she does it deliberately or whether she realizes, oh God, you can actually see the look on her face that she's just taken a third of the church service to give one serious bit of evidence, stream of evidence. She's left with that much time to give the message, and she's forced to, I mean, I'm quite sure, like I say, she's a really good medium. I'm quite sure she could give a good evidential message if she turned her mind to it, but she's happy. She's given so much evidence. The person's believes, oh, there's no doubt that was my mummy. But
Right.
all my mummy said was she loves me.
And that's disappointing as somebody getting a reading. If I've got my mom on the other side and the medium says, oh, she loves you. And I've gotten these readings.
Debbie, has your mom passed in the last hour?
No, I was just using that as an example, hon.
All right. Okay.
But even so, I've been very disappointed in your mother loves you, or they send their love, or you're doing great, or keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
I mean, there's a number of things I could say about mediums that do that. Number one, they don't know how to split between evidence and messages. I mean, there's a very simple technique that we teach, and it's like a guillotine. You work the spirit, you send a signal to the spirit, and the spirit from that point on is giving you evidence of the message. But it's compounded by the evidence of the message is misinterpreted by the medium as evidence of the spirit.
The spirit, yes.
Now, sometimes it's spot on. It's vague, and the message hasn't quite narrowed onto the hardcore message. But again, when people come into the circle that are experienced mediums, and I see them do that, you've seen the reaction. Oh God, that's quite funny. Yeah. The number of experienced mediums that come in and they run for the hills. I mean, they literally, when they start seeing Devi or me giving messages, or we do videos now, so we show a video of one of us giving a message, and the number of them that drop out so quickly. We've kind of when we know that we've got an experienced medium coming in, Devi and I now take bets as to whether they'll stay to the entire end or whether they'll drop out.
Right. We'll see how long they last.
Yeah. I suppose a particularly bad church area that, well, I suppose get back on target. This really ties into what we were talking about last week about calling out and going direct. A lot of the messages are generic because the medium is calling out. Now, why does one lead to the other? Because they're not 100% sure in their own self-confidence that they've actually got the right spirit for the right person. I mean, there was one medium I saw. I mean, I've told this story 100 times before, but it's relevant. Torquay Spiritualist Church. He came. He was a windbag, but put that aside. He was calling out. Now, he's an English medium. He would never get away with this in Scotland, but he was calling out, and I'm not joking. I could take it, and my hand went up along with 4 other people. And he gave a little bit of evidence. My hand went down. Another 3 hands went up. Gave another bit of evidence. Hands went down. My hand went up again. Okay, I can take about 75% of what he's saying. So, and then
that's enough. Yeah, that's enough to keep your hand up. So.
Yeah. And then, okay, so eventually for one of the messages, he came to me and he started giving me a message. Now, it wasn't, I'm going to say generic, but I couldn't take it, man. I made it fit to take it because I really didn't want to sit there and go, no.
Yeah.
It was close enough that I could make it fit, but it was vague enough that it didn't make any sense in terms of what he was saying. Mm-hmm. So, again, I got the feeling that, his own confidence must have been going down with the number of hands that were going up and going down.
Right.
And then, he's not that confident in terms of the message he's giving after, am I with the right person or not?
What I hate even more than that, to be honest, is when you're sitting there getting a reading and someone says, I have your grandmother. Well, how do I know that?
Yeah. Absolutely. And
I don't know you have my grandmother.
Yeah.
At my age, you would assume both of my grandmothers have passed over.
Yeah. But a simple statement like that with no evidence to back it up I mean, that's a different subject because we're talking about the messages.
And we're talking about the message, but that's the evidence as well. You need evidence for the person as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not everybody gives it. So,
yeah. I mean, I suppose the next question is asking why do mediums do it? You know, why do they find it so hard to give proper evidential messages?
because they've never been taught how.
But it's not hard.
It's not difficult, but if you've never received an evidential message, you wouldn't know that you should give one. And they've never been taught what an evidential message is. And I'm just guessing at this point.
Yeah. Okay. So ignorance, but
Ignorance.
there's no defense. If you're
Well,
guilty,
it's not illegal, so it is a defense.
it should be.
It should be. Of course it should be. But everything we do is for entertainment purposes anyway, so.
Unless you're working in a church.
Unless you're, but there aren't that many churches in the States, so.
Yeah. That actually, I think, is okay. That doesn't apply to the UK or Scotland specifically, but that's why I think you've got most of the problems that I've been ranting and raving about for the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's because you don't have enough spiritualist churches.
Probably because there's no central teaching mechanism.
We don't have that in Scotland. I mean, all the churches are independent.
Well, even so, there's enough of them that then people go to different ones that it's relatively common.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're running out of time.
Yes, we are. We have a few minutes, but not a lot.
Yeah. Well, let me run through the banners. If you're watching this, we started talking about the Walks on Sunday with Marc and Ying. These are basically videos of myself and my wife going around historical places in Scotland. We will be reposting the ones that we've already done. If you watch the beginning, you'll understand. Coming up very soon, we've got the Royal Botanical Gardens, and we've got another one that we filmed. One of the film sites for Outlander will be coming up. Okay. If you would like, we do a lot of different types of streamed events. If you would like advance notice of them, subscribe for our newsletter. There's one probably due out in the next couple of days if I can get around to doing it. marcstuartmedium.com/newsletter. All our streamed events on Facebook get deleted after 30 days. They've been doing that since about June, July, August last year. I get an email every week now telling me your video from date is going to be deleted in X days. If you want to save it, download it.
Yes.
I don't need to because the video comes from StreamYard. However, YouTube do not do that. So at Scottish Medium, you will find our well over 100 videos that I've done or Devi's done and we've done together. Whole range of things from interviews, training events, walks in Scotland, our tour events, church
Cards with Marc.
Yeah,
and Cards with Marc.
I've only done one. There will be another one coming up in the next week or two, I promise. You'll find them all there, so that's the place to go delving. You'll also find training videos and guided meditations.
And a cat.
And a cat, yeah. Lots of videos of cats doing obscene things in the background. If you would like to come to one of our training videos, if you would like to come to one of our training circles,
there you go.
calendly.com/marcstuartmedium/open-circle-workshop. Fairly easy to remember. Calendly is the website for booking events. Marc Stuart Medium is who we are. And open-circle-workshop is what you're registering for. If there's anybody watching that would like a reading, we've got 2 mediums here. We're quite happy to give a real live example of an evidential reading, but you will have to come online with us If you go to the comments, you'll find one that's clickable. Failing that, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the streamyard.com/ and all those numbers and letters. Type that into your browser, and it will not work. I can't remember which one it won't work with, but Chrome and anything that's Chrome based, you shouldn't have a problem with. So we'll hang on for a few seconds. Type that in. Join us. You will be streamed on video, so don't do it if you're sitting in your PJs.
Oh, well, unless you don't mind if you're sitting in your PJs.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just that we don't do. If we're doing live events, especially if I'm doing readings with cards, you've got to log on so I can see you. You probably gathered from earlier, I'm really techie. So there's a camera on the cards, there's a camera on me dealing the cards, there's a camera on me, and there's a camera on the person getting the readings. So if you're watching on a tiny little screen, it maybe won't work for you. But if you're watching on a big computer screen or your TV, it probably will. Okay, well, nobody's coming forward for a reading.
Doesn't look that way.
Doesn't look that way. So it's been a pleasure.
If you watch this and decide you want a reading for the next one, it's every Wednesday at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central, 3:30 Mountain, and 2:30 Pacific.
And it's a different link each time. So don't save that link thinking I'll use that next week, because you'll be coming into the studio for a broadcast that we did a week ago, and we won't be there. So
yeah, we did last week. Yeah, that will.
Okay, so good night, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on your time stream, and we will be back here. Well, you can come and join us on the Circle on Sunday.
Good night for watching. We appreciate you.
8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, noon Pacific time. Okay.
Mountain and noon.
So that's my final goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye.